Shalini, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first, just congratulations on the series on Spectrum TV's Long Slow Exhale. It was very thrilling actually, and just so dramatic. I think it was really well done. Tell us a little bit about your experience as Emily.
Yeah, I think I booked it in March. It's like almost a year now, which is crazy. But it was great. I got to work with Rose Rollins, the lead of the show, a lot, and Josh Lucas, and I had some fun scenes with them. But yeah, I really love the character. She's a hard ass. It was fun to play someone who's so dedicated to her work and to her worth. She knows her worth. So it was really fun to curate her and play along for like 4 months, with the rest of the characters.
It was your character specifically was so interesting because of the fact that um she's really left out in the beginning. And but it's fun to watch the episodes and watch her um find things out, and the way she reacts and the way she progresses into I'm not even sure how much I want to say, just because if you haven't seen it, it's more fun to watch it yourself. So tell me about that process and seeing you kind of grow in suspicion and then find things out, and the way that she handled it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool because I think I got to be that person. The audience is obviously finding out everything in real time, but in reality, my character is the one who's finding out everything in real time.
Hmm.
So that was kind of, I play that perspective versus everyone else is just has the information in their head or doesn't know at all. So it was really cool to like slowly piece things together, but then through her, how would she respond to this? So that was really fun to play with. Like she's a person who, she flies off the handle. She doesn't really like keep things to herself, but knows that she has to kind of play the game a little bit and protect people, but at the same time protect herself. So that was really fun to create as the story progressed, and I think the writing really helped with that. They changed my character over the course of the filming to make her more suspicious, to make her have a voice. Before it was just like something would happen and it would be gone, but to really show how it affected her life, how she's watching JC just crumble before her eyes and not being able to do anything about it, but trying to do something about it. So
Mhm.
that was it was the writing, I think, really helped to create the character, but then also tell the story from her perspective in a strong way. Like I like that they kept her really strong and really forthcoming and blunt. It's just fun to play that. So yeah, absolutely.
So as you're playing or as you're reading these scripts,
Mhm.
what kind of relationship do you have with the writers into, hey, you know what, maybe I think this is maybe we should try this, or how open were they to change? I talked to a couple of them, they seem great. So I'm sure.
They're amazing. They're really sweet. We didn't get too much one-on-one interaction with them, but Pam was directly obviously writing,
Mhm.
and so she would be on set. So if something like didn't work for us, or like whether it's a line or something, she could tell, and she would come in and go like, "Don't do that. Do something else." So it was nice to actually work with her directly, but then also some of the basketball lingo, like you'd be like, I don't know what to say here, so they'd come and help you with that. And but no, I think generally it was their project and their work, so they knew what the actor was capable of, I think, and they like played with that and saw the journey of how the actor would take on the role. So that was really awesome to see a character start from one place and you have all of these assumptions of where she's going to go, and then as you get the scripts, things start changing. And that was really fun to trust them in that, to know that they know the direction to go. And then obviously the directors also like really helped elevate that work, whether it's like I think it was a third or fourth episode. Mike was our director, and he was really like, the script is one thing, and you can kind of have an idea of what you want with the script and the character, but then you come in and they're like, why don't we take it this way, why don't we take it this way? And that was really, I think that's where I get really excited, is when you get to actually play on set. And it has to do, and the writing is already set, of course, but it has to do with how you interpret the writing, and that was really fun. And the freedom that the writers kind of gave with that. Like they gave this awesome scene and go, I'm like, figure out with the actor, figure out the directors, and have fun with it, play with it. And Pam was obviously always there guiding us, so that was really awesome.
So are you a basketball fan in general?
I would say I used no, I'm not a fan that knows much, but I do love the sport. I played as a kid, and my husband is obsessed.
Mm,
He's been a Bulls fan since he was like two. He's in
okay.
Chicago. Yeah, so I've been forced into liking every sport, watching every sport for like the last 12 years of my life. So now I'm like, oh, I need a little bit. But the one sport I do tend to go back to is definitely basketball, and now soccer. So yeah.
Good. Well, it's still not fair of a question, because it's one thing to watch a sport and appreciate it. It's another thing to try and portray a coach who has to go
Yeah,
so much more in depth.
absolutely. Yeah. I looked at a lot of videos of different coaches, and I think I read the script, and then my husband was like, I feel like this is this one particular coach. And he was giving me, videos of different coaches that reminded me of her. And that helped a lot, just like body language and like the fervor that they talked, and the relationship that they had with the camera, even like the camera, like how they like, they're always being filmed, especially in games. So how they move and stuff like that. I think that was really fun. And Rose and I were like really nervous about that at the beginning. Because like we have to pull this off, and then like getting slowly into it by the like eighth episode, we're like, we got this, we know how to do this. So yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway in learning some of those mannerisms, and maybe because the camera's usually on them in the most high pressure situations?
Absolutely. I think one is that they're quite unapologetic about how they express themselves. And it's when you're involved with something, you don't really realize that the camera's on you. So you're just kind of hyped up and you're really passionate about it. I think keeping to the story, I think that was really helpful. Like, how much do you care about this game? How much do you care about these players? And so that was fun. But I think there was like a little bit of, like if it's someone who's played basketball before, you have a little bit of a walk and a kind of a body language that you just kind of naturally. I'm a dancer, so I know I walk like a dancer sometimes, or like I move like a dancer sometimes. So it's something about doing something physical since you're a young kid, that actually embodies how you move through the world. So that was fun to like find that little bit of like strength in her, and the things that she wore. And then as she like, I love that they give me like a glow up in the show. She starts dressing up nicer, and she's like trying to be JC a little bit more, and then that gives her a different confidence. So it was fun to play physically, like how you walk across like the court, and how you come and talk to the players, and some of that is actually performative too, because you want to seem a certain way to them versus like what you do in your private life, or how you behave with your boss or your peers versus how you behave with your players. So that was really fun to like find the difference between that, and seeing JC or Rose and then going, okay, I don't want to be her in that way, like you don't want to have the same energy. So kind of that Abba Costello feel. So I was like, oh, I feel like she's the one who's like a little more panicky and a little bit more like high strung, whereas JC's very like self-centered, or not self-centered, like collected. Yeah, so it was fun because she's older, she's seasoned. I'm new and fresh and eager and green. So that was fun to play with that physically.
Yeah, the one thing you never do is guarantee a win.
Yeah, exactly. A little humbling moment.
It's funny because coaches sometimes will even intentionally get themselves thrown out to try and fire out their team, up their team.
Absolutely.
So it's crazy things like that. That sometimes maybe you take for granted as a fan, or sometimes you appreciate it too because they're just trying to get more involved.
Yep.
I did want to ask you about your dancing background, because you started really, really young, and I actually wanted to know a little bit about that and how that set you up, especially the style of dance you took for the rest of your career.
Yeah. I started a style of Indian classical dance called Kuchipudi. A lot of young Indian girls do some form of classical dance as a kid, and this is from my state, and I loved it. It's basically a form of theater in India, so it's their form of storytelling. Just like we have plays here, this is, or like kabuki theater, stuff like that. This is we tell stories of gods and folklore and day-to-day human life, but through dance and expression and hand gestures. So it is a full form of storytelling and full form of acting as well as dance. So I think it's always been, in my head of like performing and acting and creating characters has always been there since I was a kid through dance, definitely. So going into theater and acting was a very seamless trajectory. Very, very, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Obviously, like I'm in the US, what am I going to do? So I'm going to do this. But yeah, dance, I still do it. I've been doing it for, oh God, so many years now, at least 20, 25 years. So particularly that style is like a very, I'd say it's my heart, and like acting is like my kind of like passion, but it's something I can't give up. I won't give up. So I love it. It's really informed so much of my acting. And when I kind of need both in my life. So it's like acting definitely helps dance, and dance definitely helps acting. So I think they've definitely crossed paths in so many ways. And now I am doing a couple of projects that I'm intersecting both of them a little bit more.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, we're doing like a theater project with my collaborator, and we wanted to do it before pandemic, and now it's like, but I think we have a long road ahead of us, a lot of research, but it's basically combining Indian classical dance with Shakespeare. So
Ooh, okay.
so we're going to be using the Shakespeare's dialogue from a particular play, and then telling the story of one of the gods from our Indian culture through dance as well, and weaving it with Western and semi-classical music specifically, and classical music as well. So I'm very excited. We have a great team together, and my collaborator is also a phenomenal Indian classical dancer and actress. So we were like, why haven't we done this before? So now it's our chance to actually put it together.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds really interesting, and it sounds like it has a potential to be very, very good.
Yeah, we're like, let's do it slowly and really get it together, so we don't have to rush to put something out there. I feel like we're constantly rushed to like put content versus like I want to create something that's long lasting and has a lot of depth. So yeah.
How important is that to you to be able to bring your culture here and to share that with the States?
It's funny because I've always thought it hasn't been like a thing that like I need to do this to promote my culture. It's just that's just who I like. That's what I grew up with. And I grew up in India for a while, so that's all I knew. So when I came here, I was just like, I definitely hid part of it. It wasn't really like intentionally hiding. It was just like I didn't have a space to do it. And my high school theater program actually allowed us to bring in things that from our own life. So then I started doing that, and people received it so well. So it was like, oh yeah, I can show this in a more public platform versus like keeping my school life and then my dance life separate. So it was nice to merge the two. And college really gave that opportunity to just be that. Like we had a huge Indian community where we could invite anyone and perform every kind of dance. And now it's very seamlessly in my life. And it has become more of a message. Like I want to show this because it's a part of me. It's not just because it's important, but it's a part of me. And it's my way of showing my voice. And also, yes, now it is important. We sometimes feel like every other culture gets sidelined a little bit, especially if it's different or not really accessible. So trying to find a place where you can show some new way of looking at culture, art, and have it be accepted. So I think it's a continuous journey, and that so many people have paved that way for me. So I'm just grateful to like watch all of these, especially these younger kids are doing it so well now. They've blended their like culture and American side and Indian side so well and they're putting it out there without abandon. And I mean, I'm inspired more as a 30-year-old, like, oh, I wish I did this when I was 20. So yeah, it is very important, but it's just a part of me. So I'm just glad to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate talking with you. It was a really nice conversation.
Thank you.
And actually, I'm really looking forward to following along and see how this project comes along.
I am excited. Thank you so much for supporting. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was really nice to virtually meet you, and hopefully we'll talk again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.